Cool. So thanks for joining, everyone. It's really nice to have so many of you on the webinar and having you join us. Just to do a little bit of introductions to get us started. So I'm Charlotte from Six and Flow. For any of you that don't know who Six and Flow are, we are a growth agency. We've got offices in Manchester and in London, and we help clients across marketing and sales enablement. So a lot of digital tools and remote working tools that we use. We are also a Diamond HubSpot partner. So we have Steve, who's joined us from HubSpot. Steve is a senior seller over there, and we've worked with him for a good couple of years to help with our growth. There's some really cool tools that have come out from HubSpot that we think could help you guys. So yeah, just a couple of introductions. Also, just to let you guys know, there is on the chat, there's a Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. So there's a chat panel that we've just used, but then also the Q&A. If you can use that for any questions. We've got a couple of questions that are going to be in a couple of sections within the webinar. So there's not just questions at the end, we've got little breaks in between. So ask as many questions as you can. And then also, just to wrap it up at the end, to kind of link everything together, we're just going to do a really quick demo of some of the HubSpot tools as well. So there's going to be lots of snippets of kind of information that you can use, but then at the end, just to loop that back together to see what it all looks like, we're going to do a quick demo as well. So hopefully you enjoy, and any questions, just pop them across.
Well, lovely to be with you all. My name's Steve. As Charlotte said, I'm calling in from Dublin in Ireland, and I've been working for HubSpot for over 6 years now, working in sales. And predominantly, HubSpot has had a very much a work from home policy for those that are able to for a while. So I've been working remotely for many years and working online. So hopefully there's some... that is an old photo, says Rich, but I look better there, Rich. Yeah, lovely to be with you wherever you're dialing in from, and thanks for having me, Six and Flow. These are strange, unprecedented times. We all know that unprecedented is the word that everyone seems to be using, the newspapers, the news, the businesses. These are strange, unprecedented times. So the first thing to say is how are we adapting? And the first way to adapt is just to remember this is a good moment to be reminded of our humanity and what's important. I think the world is coming together in a new way. I think we're understanding something of ourselves and our frailty and vulnerability, but also our sense of togetherness as humanity. And business is important, and we must do all we can to help our businesses. But there's other things that are important in life, and it's good to be reminded of those. So that means that when we're thinking about business, we must lead with sympathy. We must lead with understanding. We must lead from a sense of trying to be together and helping people. And so we must think about our messaging and how we tailor that, and how we're recognizing the times we're in and the vulnerability that people are feeling, and the uncertainty and the instability. And so with that, we also must respond with collaboration. How can we help? What can we do? How can we work together? How can we be flexible? And so there must be a sort of change of mentality in the way we go about doing business at the moment. HubSpot wants to help our customers. We want to show that sympathy. We want to show that collaboration. We want to work with people like Six and Flow to help you. And we want to help you go online. Everyone's online now. There is no such thing as meeting in person. It's well, most countries anyway, most governments, most jurisdictions have meant that you're not allowed to meet in person. So you have to be online and you have to be remote. And so we want to help you think that through, you know, on a number of levels. And so we must all adapt. Every one of us has to adapt. And in fact, the quickest to adapt are the ones that are going to be able to come out of this probably the best. What I'm sharing here today, I'm not trying to say HubSpot are the experts, because we're all figuring it out together. This lifetime or the lifetime before us has never had anything like this kind of virus that has affected the globe and business and our economies and our workplaces. We've never really had it since maybe the wars earlier in the century, in the last century. So we're all having to adapt and figure it out. And what I'm going to share today from HubSpot's perspective is not that we're the best or we got it sorted, but this is how we're adapting, and we're hoping that it can help you adapt through these times. So what have we done? What has HubSpot done to adapt? I want to start internally, because I've been so impressed with HubSpot's leadership the senior level executives and the decisions they've had to make, the way they've responded, their transparency, the way they've treated us. I'm a sales rep here, been for many years, just treated all the individuals in HubSpot and thought about our good at this time. So just some examples. Immediately, they started to come out with just plans about how they're going to change the rep plans, give more flexibility, organize holidays differently, just lots of the sort of day-to-day stuff that employees have to deal with. They wanted to say, we want to take some of that stress from you, and so that you can just sort of react and have time to be with your family. I've just come from lunch with my kids. My wife's homeschooling. I've got all my kids off iPads at this time and stuff like that, so that there's no one using our internet while I do this webinar for you. We've all got to adapt and figure it out. And yeah, Lynn, we'll come back to your question in a moment. So we're doing help for parents. For example, 3 or 4 times a week, my calendar, I have an opt-in to have a time to have some guy or girl online who's a sort of a professional musician or professional artist who's going to play songs and give activities and stories for children 0 to 4 and 4 to 8 and the different age brackets. We just had a company-wide meeting a week ago where we were updated by our C-level execs about the situation and how HubSpot's going to react. And we have a new chief customer officer, and she was sharing how she's got her parents have come to live with her. She's got teenage children, and she's working from home, and she's got this crowded house in San Francisco, and with all that's going on. And then she says she's got to have this board meeting with HubSpot and the investors, and then she's got her kid playing saxophone in the room next door. And it's just a real sense of vulnerability and just being human and being, we're all figuring this out together, and we want to help you if you're a parent. And so that's I've been very impressed there. And so for your business, how are you helping parents? There's mental health seminars multiple times a week that you can go to. And so if you just want to get some advice on how to handle this mentally, then that's been offered here internally. And not just mental health, there's other kind of seminars and things that are helping people adapt to remote and giving expertise and a chance for conversation. There's been lots of communication, not in the bad way, not in my inbox is inundated, but in a good way of like, hey, we're trying to be transparent. This is what we know. This is what we don't know. With what we know, this is what we're doing. With what we don't know, we're planning these few options. And it's just keeping the company and keeping people like me, a little old me in HubSpot, informed so I can feel assured and given guidance at this time. And I'll show you an email that my CEO sent to a lot of customers that has received some great feedback. That's Brian Halligan. The team morale and assurance is a big deal. We finished our month end. What are we on the 3rd today? I got a nice little personal message off my manager. I think he's on this webinar. You're very welcome, Aidan. Just saying well done and thank you. And it was just a little touch. And that's just one little touch of many little touches that we're trying to do to make sure the team morale, and we're checking in and we're giving assurances, and when things don't go to plan, there's flexibility and understanding. A lot of that, which is really, really welcome. And then there's extra resources and training. I'm going to show you a dashboard in a moment, just a brief one. These are the industries that are struggling. These are the industries that are maybe not struggling through this. How can HubSpot help both types of industries? What are we doing? What are the playbooks? And just a simple dashboard that I don't know which person in HubSpot sales operations created it, but I'm very grateful for them that they did create it because it's been useful to me through this time. So the question is, what can you be doing? And maybe what are you doing? And if you've got other suggestions, throw them in the chat or the Q&A there. But that's what we're doing internally to adapt. And we have to adapt. And we have to think about our employees as humans and as people, and come with sympathy and collaboration and care, and think about how parents are being affected with working from home and all the rest, because that's how we're going to care for them too as employees. So that's what we're doing. As I said, we're not the experts. We haven't all got it figured out, but I've been very impressed with how things have been working at HubSpot. What about externally then? What about for our customers and our prospects and people that want help at this time? What are we doing? Well, we know that cash flow is probably the biggest challenge facing our companies at the moment. like people are, there's, you know, people are losing business or budgets are being frozen and there's all this uncertainty. So we know that cash flow, the immediate, you know, hopefully we're going to see a recession that sort of bounces down and then bounces back up, and it's not too long, but you know, there's always the uncertainty. But as we come down, cash flow is the problem for businesses. So how have we tried to respond to that? For March, which we've never done before, we did some 6-month contracts. Just if you need to get started in March, we want to help you do that within certain MRR bands. It's not for everyone, but it's certain bands of MRR, so that you can just have a shorter term commitment during the uncertainty. We've never done that before. We did discounting options with higher MRR tier deals. So if you're going to buy a lot of HubSpot, we wanted to help you for the next 90 days. Think about how to manage that and help you with that. We had net 90-day payment terms, again, within certain bands and criteria, but just to help with it, buy today if you really still want to go on with us, if this is the best choice for you in this time, but we appreciate, we want to help you with the cash flow. We don't pay pilots. So again, depending on the situation, it's not a sort of thing you can just self-adopt, but where we are able to then get you going on a longer term pilot, so you can adopt during this time without too much expense, and then hopefully when things pass, you'll be able to move on. HubSpot cash flow is good. We're very fortunate for that. So we've done partner commissions paid in advance, and our partners have been really grateful for that, because we want to help. They're typically the small to medium-sized businesses that are maybe struggling more than ourselves, and so we want to make sure that they've been given that benefit, and that's been a hugely well received, and they've been very grateful for that. What about software then? If that's what we're doing with cash flow, if that's what we're thinking about, just trying to help people in the interim, in the short term, what about software? We've put loads and loads of what was previously our professional tools into our free software for the short term. So for example, unlimited meetings, our quotes tool, our e-sign tool, our one-to-one video tools. Now you can have them for free. Anyone, everyone, get going. We all know you're working from home. We know that you need a way to sign contracts remotely. We know you need video to do outreach because you can't meet face to face. We know you need the ability to book meetings. Off you go. We'll give you that. We've removed emailing and calling limits for different HubSpot tiers. We know you're going to be sending more emails. We know you're going to be doing more calls, and they can be run through HubSpot. So we're saying, off you go. We want to give you the ability to do that. Take that stress off you of, oh, do I need to upgrade? No, just let's just help you at this time. We paused the pricing increase for our sales professional. We were sort of adding in and doing extra features and improvements in it. And we've decided to just hit the pause. It was not appropriate. And we don't want to give that added stress. So we'll June, July, or whatever is the right time, we can keep moving forward with that. We've also cut the costs of Starter Growth Suite for 90 days. So £42, €46, or $50 a month. So you can buy Marketing, Sales, and Service Hub on the Starter Growth Suite. It's an amazing offer. So you can just get going if you're going, hey, my business has just gone online and remote. We need some tools. Oh, look, you can adopt to get going quickly. So that's also something we've done there. All of these offers, or certainly a number of them, are all on this page here, and you can go and see them, and that's all live, and you can even activate your new tools if you're a user, and see what's going on there. So I want to hit the pause and just have a chance for questions and reflections, which Six and Flow can help me field, and just get any sort of questions and reflections about this idea of adapting and responding in a sort of humane way.
We've got one question, Steve, that I think is going to be good, well, better from you, which is not being able to integrate with Outlook rather than Gmail on the meeting link has been identified as a weakness. Are there any plans to develop this in the future so that the meeting link with Outlook software rather than just Outlook 365?
Great. Well, let's follow that afterwards, and we can look at that. That's more of a detailed technical question. I'm very happy to try and help you with that. So thanks for your question.
Jeff, you've just asked if we can share the link to the free discounted tools in the chat. Yes, I will get that into the chat now for you as well.
When would you recommend external comms to customers? Appreciate. Yeah, and you need to get the timing right. I mean, Harry, there's no right and wrong answer here. And if you go too quick with a sort of sales pitch or something, it seems too aggressive. But yeah, there definitely needs to be some communications. I mean, I think if it's clear, and you know, that's the way I think about it. What do we know? and what can we do with what we know, and what do we don't know, and let's be honest about what we don't know, and then maybe map out some options. That's the best way I think of handling comms, rather than trying to guess everything. But it needs careful thought. I don't know if the guys at Six and Flow have any thoughts on how to handle and when to handle the comms.
So we've taken the tack to try and be as transparent and communicate as often as possible with the kind of external comms. So we've tried to keep our customers informed of what's going on with us as a business. So we informed everybody that we were taking the move to work from home, and to kind of hold with us as we made that transition. And we've tried to help where we can with with HubSpot updates, like the pricing and things like that, and our other tech partners, and just trying to be as generally helpful as possible. So moving back slightly from the kind of forthright sales pitch, and trying to generally help people, because there's a lot of people struggling out there. So we've tried to get our comms out as quickly as possible, and keep them as consistent as possible as well.
Transparency, sympathy, we're trying to help. That's they're the key things, I think. So yeah. Okay.
Linda's asked a question around any good tips for attracting customers via email. Linda, my top tip for that would be use video as well, rather than just text-based emails and sending out really long-winded text emails. Use video. Use video that is personalized. You can put your face in front. You can say, hey, this is what we want to speak to you about. This is why I want to reach out to you. So personally, from I work within the sales capacity for Six and Flow, I saw a 400% increase of meetings booked from sending out videos in email rather than just text. So my top tip definitely is look at using video.
Okay, let's keep going and keep the questions coming. We'll have more time. We've got another couple of question sessions through the webinar. Just want to keep it going. But we can also look to get back to you on those questions afterwards. So that's why we're using the Q&A. So keep using that Q&A. Thanks for the great questions. I think it was Winston Churchill who said, never allow a good crisis to go to waste. If it wasn't him, it sounds like him, and it's a great quote. So we're in a crisis, and the question is, are you going to utilize it, or is it sort of going to go to waste? Why? Well, necessity is the mother of invention, isn't it? When you have to, when it's when it's not peacetime but wartime, you have to just figure things out. You have to move quickly. You have to be creative. There's no choice. The fat of something gets removed, and you have to streamline everything. And so that's what's happening right now, is that certain things are just going to have to be forced through, and necessity is going to kick in, and the crises are going to allow new opportunities. And so this is the key point. I want you to just look at the screen carefully and take this point home, if nothing else today. The COVID-19 crisis could fast forward a digital transformation in your business that should already have happened. Some of you should have been doing stuff online and remotely. Some of you should have been adopting more inbound or other tech tools and other things already. But, there's politics in the business, or there's lots to do with events, or there's, the usual sort of yearly calendar that seems to get in the way, or there's been a budget restriction, or we're in wartime now. You have to, those things just fall to the side, and we can force through stuff that maybe you should have been doing anyway. And so that's why necessity is the mother of invention, or don't let this good crisis go to waste. Some of you have been saying we should have been doing stuff like video that Charlotte just mentioned. We've been talking about that for 6 months, 12 months. We haven't done it. Well, now is the time to do something that you maybe should have already done. So here's a great example from Amanda Elam, who I remember speaking to a number of years ago. She moved companies, and she posted this on the 20th of March. It's on LinkedIn. She decided to move on to HubSpot from another technology. And she said, why we decided to transform our MarTech stack in the middle of a crisis. And she had 4 brilliant points. Just read these points with me. The world would be different, and we need to be ready for the fast pace of transformation. There's someone that's thinking clearly. Customers need education and community now more than ever. They need to be, like Rich was saying, transparent, clear communication to help offer sympathy, community education. Now, so you've got to do that online. We found a partner dedicated to making us successful. And I love point 4. It's our rallying point. What are your marketeers and salespeople and customer service people doing at the moment? Well, some of them are like, I'm not sure. I don't know what my job is. I'm sort of a bit bored. Have I got to focus? And, what's going to happen? You need something to rally people. you know, everyone's sort of you can be paralyzed by fear or inactivity or uncertainty. And if you're not giving clear messages from the top down to your teams, then they don't know what to do with themselves. So find a rallying point and say, hey, this is all going on. We're trying to do what we can to fix it. We're trying to offer that human sympathy and empathy, but we're giving you a focus that everyone can latch onto and something to hope in and something to move forward with, rather than just sort of dwindling. And so I think that's fantastic. And so she's got the whole team adopting the software, using it, learning the certifications, going and doing the academies. Brilliant suggestion, and a fantastic post to read. And I highly recommend you go and find that afterwards. So how must we adapt, and how must we go online and remote? Well, in the chat pane, you can use chat pane for this. If you're in marketing, just say hello, just say yes. And I just want to see how many marketeers we have like on this webinar. So if you're in marketing, just great. Thank you guys. Yeah. So plenty of marketers, keep going. Okay. Plenty of marketeers. Well, we love marketeers. Marketing is what HubSpot was originally built on, and we still love it. So lovely to have you here. How do marketeers adapt and go online and remote? It sounds obvious, but the first thing to state is you've only got inbound leads to work with now. There's no other lead really around. You can't go to events, can't go to trade shows, you can't go to networking things in the evening. You've just got inbound leads. You've got your website and you've got your social channels, and you can attract leads that way. And it's important to state that because, you know, that's just what's happened and there's no other way around it. That means that content-led strategies are the only real way to generate leads right now. I've been working at HubSpot for 6.5 years. The reason people haven't adopted HubSpot or a similar technology or haven't been successful on HubSpot is because they say, I just don't have time to do the content. Like, how are we going to have time to do the blogs? How are we going to have time to do the ebooks? How am I going to have time to organize my website and do my social posting? You have time now. Of course, there's certain people in the business with extra pressure as they're adapting to the COVID situation, of course, but there's a load of people that have just got loads of time. You need a rallying point. Come up with a content plan, make it really clear, make it really good, and get those marketeers who have time to start implementing into that content plan. Do webinars like this one. 130 people on this call already. Fantastic. Thanks for joining. This is what people can do. They can join webinars. This didn't take Six and Flo and myself ages and ages of time. Certainly nothing like organizing an event for 130 people. Nothing like the admin and overheads. So you can do webinars. Maybe you've been saying, oh, we should have been doing webinars before. We've always talked about doing webinars. Do it. Here's your chance. A rallying point. Force the transformation. Get on and organize a webinar. Video. Charlotte's already said it. We can't be face to face, but we can be in people's faces in a good way with just a nice personalized video. Charlotte and Rich and the guys at Six and Flow are the absolute kings and queens at this. They know exactly what they're doing on how to make video a really attractive way of doing marketing. So get on and do some videos. Conversational. If you're not into conversational marketing, if you haven't got a chat and a bot all working for you and qualifying leads and serving up great content and educating your customers, again, here's a moment to say, well, we've heard about conversational marketing. We know we should do it. If you're doing an okay job or a bad job at it, do it well now. Here's your chance to do a really good job around conversational. Find a new rallying point where you can help your marketeers. So if you're in marketing, it's inbound leads only. It's content-led strategy that you have time for. It's webinars, it's video, and it's conversational. You've got plenty you can be getting on with to keep the business going and keep people growing and coming to, new leads coming in. In the chat pane, if you're in sales, just say hello. We love salespeople. Don't give salespeople a hard time. They keep the business growing. Well done, Harry. Ola, nice to have you here. Anyone else who's in sales? Linda, great. Lovely to have you here. Rob, Jeff, Andrew, fantastic. Oh, Russell Hope, brilliant. Well done. If you're in sales, keep saying hello in the chat pane. How do salespeople go online and remote? What do they need to do? Again, let me state the obvious. Outbound reps are now inbound reps, and then it happened overnight when the government made a decision for you. your job title was changed from I'm a field rep to I'm an inside rep, or I'm a bit of both. Now I'm just inside. I have nothing else but being inside. I've been an inside sales rep for 7 years now. I do stuff on the road, of course, but predominantly I'm in my study at home and I'm selling HubSpot or helping customers through online technologies. But that's a big, big shift for a lot of people, both mentally and practically, and with training and with technology. Like, how do I, the old way of doing sales, well, I can't do that. I can't go for lunches. I can't go to those events. I can't go to those meetings. I can't just go, I now need to sort of generate leads online and follow up those leads online and then follow up them a few times. And how do I do that? Email, phone, LinkedIn. It's a whole new world for some people. And so again, there's an opportunity to adapt. So it's inbound sales only. So you need to give them technologies to support them. If you're in inbound sales, or if you're managing a team, or if you're in a senior leadership in a company, what technologies do inbound salespeople need? We've mentioned a few of them already. They need video. They need a way to send lovely videos on LinkedIn or in the email that just are attractive and personal. They need sequences or an equivalent, a similar way to follow up one-to-one on the leads that are coming in and automate their outreach and organize their time through the tasks and the emails and the calls and the social messages. It's just going to automate it all for them. It will mean the productivity per rep can go up exponentially, but it stays personal. They have to have meeting links because people are going to be booking them online, and they need a way of doing that with Zoom or an equivalent technology that's simple, and they're not spending hours going backward and forward on email. They need quotes and e-signs, because how else are they going to sign up business? They need to be able to do it online in a simple way. Here's my quote, off you go and sign it. And they need the normal sales things like a pipeline to be able to work for, tasks to be able to organize their day, queues that they can follow up their leads, lead lists, all the rest. Now, for some people, this is like, yeah, we do all that. For some people, they're like, we should have been doing all this. And so it's a real moment to force an adaptation in your sales culture, in your sales structure that maybe should already have happened. A lovely little diagram to show what's happening, really. Generally, the trend over the last number of years is people have gone from field sales in say, a business like HubSpot, technology sales over the last 20 years, to high touch B2B, where that's inside sales, but it's high touch, to low touch, where there's just maybe one call or two calls and people buy, to no touch, people buy freemium or people buy online. So what's happening is this adaptation, this trend is being forced through right now by COVID. And that's not necessarily a bad trend, though it can be a hard trend or a hard adaptation, but people must be able to make it. So what happens if you're in customer service? Can people just put in the chat pane if we talked about marketing adapting, talked about sales adapting? If you're in customer service, say hello to us. You're the people that are being inundated. Kate Saunders, you must be inundated with questions right now. Thank you for being a customer service person. Hillary, Kieran, we've only got 3. My word. Not many, 4, great. We had loads of sales and marketeers, but no one's solving for our customers. Well, you're all working in businesses that have now to engage with customer service in a new way. So what do we do? How are we adapting and going online? State the obvious, like I've done for all of them. Our customers have questions and feedback, like tons of them. Like, what's happening here? I just booked a flight. What's going to happen to my flight? Am I going to get it back? I've just signed up for this. What about that? We were planning to do this. What's happening now? Like, there's just questions. And so you have to be able to have a simple way of following all that up. And it has to be 24/7. You know, people might be doing it any time of day because they're looking after their kids in the daytime. And then at 7 o'clock, their work kicks in when they put the kids to bed. Now they're at work. And so they're actually doing their work hours in the evening. And so if they have no way of really engaging with you and getting a fairly immediate response, then you've lost them. So you need to be able to do 24/7. It has to be multi-channel, email, phone, form, chat, whatever the channel. If they want to be able to engage, there should be simple ways to engage with you. We can't be literally online 24/7 unless we work in large cross-regional companies that have different time zones and different support reps. But for a lot of SMB companies, they don't have that. And so we need to have chat and a bot, which is linked to a knowledge base so that the questions are served up for them and people can self-serve. I mean, you should know the top 10 questions your customers and prospects are asking, because you can have a technology that helps you know what that is, and have really clear knowledge-based articles right now around COVID-19 and how it's going to affect their business or your contract or the service agreement or whatever it is. Like, if you haven't got that, you're just missing a big trick right now. Because that's the question. Take that stress off you by enabling them to self-serve. And again, they need the processes and the tools to handle and to deliver success with all these queries, a simple inbox that they can manage everything and assign everything. So that is that's what's needed in customer service. So we talked about marketing, we talked about sales, we talked about customer service. These are strange, unprecedented times. What does that mean? It means companies must go online, companies must go remote, and companies must have the leadership, the people, the processes, and the technology to support that. To reiterate my main point today, this could be an opportunity for your business to force an adaptation that should already have happened. Find a new rallying point and rally people around it. So, another moment for questions and reflections, and then I'm going to show you some of these tools and what we're trying to do in a bit of a live demo and show you how I do my job remotely and online. But yeah, questions and reflections, I'll hit the pause button and let the people come in. No questions?
A couple came in while you were going through that last bit, but I think most of them have been answered from the last bit that was just mainly around kind of different tools to use. But there's always one.
I'm working for an apprenticeship provider and we have a perfect delivery model for times like now, but we're struggling on getting engagement on LinkedIn. Please give advice. I'll let the guys in Six and Flow take this on. They are the LinkedIn kings and queens. So over to you, Rich and Charlotte.
Yeah, we do a lot on LinkedIn. So because we mainly work kind of B2B, that's our kind of main social channel that we use. So we do different posts, so launching different pieces of content that you have and getting the whole company to like, comment, and kind of have some activity on that post as well. So it's something that as long as you can get as many likes and comments and increase that interaction as well. So making sure that you're replying back. I see so many times that people put a post on LinkedIn and then people reply to it, but there's no engagement on there. So it just kind of dwindles away. So making sure that you're engaging with everybody when they do comment, and then kind of going back and adding value to them as well. And again, I use video within LinkedIn. So I put, instead of just putting content and kind of text-based, I'll put a video against kind of different posts that I put, just to put, again, a face to a name and just a bit more context to what we're talking about.
I think for me as well, like in terms of that engagement piece on social, it's important that the stuff that you're putting out is the stuff that your audience wants to hear, not just the stuff that you want to talk about. So you need to be kind of talking about things that are relevant to them or are going to pique their interest, not just because you want to mouth off about it. So I think that's the important differentiation to make as well.
And just to add to both those points, that if you need to redo your persona exercise right now. So imagine these glasses of mine are COVID-19 goggles. And I'm looking at my 3 or 4 personas that I've had for my customers. I've then got to put them on and go, what are their pains right now? What are their goals right now? What are their challenges right now? What questions they have right now? And suddenly that persona, which I've had so clear for so long, is different. And if I don't redo the persona and think of a COVID-19 goggles persona that I'm wearing as I view them, then to Rich's point, I'll be thinking about my company rather than their pains. I'll be thinking about my product rather than their needs. And then to Charlotte's point, the content won't be as targeted, as good, and as relevant. And you won't have that sort of, I'm here to help you, and engaging back on social media. So think about your personas afresh with COVID-19 goggles so that your content is helpful at this time.
Megan's also asked about, what do you think a startup can do to help their clients in this climate while also trying to maintain the business?
So I can kind of dip into that one. So one of the things that we've been talking to a lot of our clients who are in a similar position to that is that you may, like, while HubSpot is in a unique position to be able to kind of help by putting some kind of money out into their partner ecosystem or giving kind of software licenses away and that kind of thing, they have a product that they can make cheaper or free for a period of time. We as a business, we don't have a product that we can sell on like that. So the assets that we have available are knowledge and in some cases time. So what we're trying to do is where we can help impart some of that knowledge or kind of give some direction. So as a startup, I would say, I have no idea what your products are or what you're trying to sell or who your market is, but I would start to look at how you can potentially help them with some of your knowledge or understanding and expertise that will help them maintain as a business. So by doing that, you're going to maintain a relationship and I mean, you're playing a longer game, but I think that's the kind of things that are needed in this kind of market at the moment. So that's what I'd recommend.
Do you have time for more questions, Steve, or do you want to save them to the end?
Yeah, let's save them to the end. And great questions, guys. And we're here to help, and they can still be answered on the chat, and we'll come back to them. There's one more section in this webinar, which is, I guess, showing you some of the tools and helping you think how, say, someone like myself has been working remote and online for 5 or 6 years now, how I've done that. Firstly, just a sort of recap. If I'm teaching you what you know, just hold on for 30 seconds. But if you're like the person there who's trying to figure out their startup, this is how you need to map through a content campaign in your head from marketing to sales. The first thing is you want to come up with your high value piece of content. This great ebook, this great guide, this great case study, this great interactive tool, whatever it is, a high value free product that people can adopt. That's called this is your pillar page. And then you want to surround that with cluster content. So nice blogs, nice social posts, paid advertising, paid social that are pulling people in, distributing that nice pillar page through various channels, and then pulling people in to convert. So that's the pillar cluster model of content strategy. And that's the best way to make sure you're ranked as an authority on topics in Google. So it's less about the keywords, although they're still important, but more about the topic and becoming an authority. So that's the content strategy you must put in place. Now, 2 to 5% of people that come to that pillar page typically make the journey all the way through to saying, I want to speak to a salesperson and I want to talk about whether I'm going to buy your product or service. 2 to 5%. So you're working really hard as a marketing team on this pillar cluster model. You've got a great job and it's like highly viewed and lots of conversions, but no one, well, a few are going to speak to sales. The ones that are, we know that hopefully they'll have a great sales process and then some of them will buy. But what about the ones that are not? You have 2 options. Well, 3 really now in the modern world, but 2 main ones. And one is you go, hey, marketing needs to nurture these. With our persona goggles in mind, we're writing not just great content, but great emails to warm these people up. Or you go, no, sales needs to nurture these, and they need a one-to-one personalized outreach. And we talk about sequences and videos and all the rest. So you're either going to use marketing automation in marketing or sales automation with sequences to nurture people through so more people end up wanting to speak to sales. The third one in our modern world, you could say, is we have the freemium option. In a software company like ours, it's like, hey, you don't want to speak to anyone, but just come and adopt some of our stuff and get going. So there's 3 options that you need to think through for your business. How are we doing the nurturing? How are we doing the warming people up? And as Rich has so helpfully said, how are we making sure what we're doing is helping them and is value to them, not just value, my value in my eyes. Okay, little summary of how you run a digital campaign, pillar cluster model, a simple conversion path. BOFU means bottom of the funnel, excuse me. They're ready to speak to you, but most people don't. So what are you doing? So this is when I put myself on a Friday afternoon of all afternoons in a very precarious position. I hope you're all appreciative of this. There's 122 people on this webinar, and I'm going to do a live demo, and you never know, it might all go wrong, but it should be okay. So please bear with me. Just a few things. This is the page that I referenced earlier. So that's where you can see HubSpot's offers at the moment, the free tools, and you can activate your new tools. You can get started. The limits we're removing, the prices, things like that, the Q&A. So do check that out. Here was this email that I mentioned from our co-founders, Brian Halligan and Dharmesh Shah, that went out to customers and just telling them what we're doing and how we're doing it, that transparent, sympathetic, helpful content. And we just got so many replies of thanks and all the rest. I won't show who that company is, but just thanking us and going, you know, this is really great, and how you communicated and what you're doing. Here's that dashboard I talked about earlier, where we're looking at the different industries that might be doing okay at this time, the leads that are in my name, and then the kind of the playbooks that we can run alongside that, and they're help to me as a salesperson. Here is that brilliant article that I suggest you go and have a read of, where it's hopefully helping them. So our entire sales team is displaced and working remotely, and what they did there. So have a think about that. As my manager Aidan says here, no safety net on a live demo. So off we go. If you're familiar with HubSpot, you'll know this. This is our contact record. This is my friend Brian at HubSpot, and this is just a demo portal for demo purposes. On the left-hand side here, I have all the different kind of key things about him, like his name, who's his contact owner, his recent conversion date, his customer cycle stage, his life cycle stage. We know the various emails that are associated, etc., etc. Here's a custom property which won't be in use at the moment. Which trade show did he attend? But you can create those custom properties and have those on there. What city he's in, that kind of thing. And we can also see here his website activity, his page views, his most recent visits, and his first visit. So that's just a nice summary of Brian. And if I'm reaching out or I'm engaging in any conversation, that's the kind of key information I'm going to need. And you can tailor that and customize that. On the right-hand side here, then, I have like his company. And I can click on that and see a similar view to what I'm seeing here for the contact, but for the whole company and all the company details rolling up. I can see what deals are attached to him. I can see what tickets have been logged against his name because of his customer questions. So, you know, just a point of interest there. Sales are working together with services to make sure the conversation's joined up. If there's a customer service query and a deal being worked, we can all see that. I want to show you an unbelievably helpful tool if your outside salespeople have become inside salespeople. What would be a really valuable tool to help them do their job? Well, we call it playbooks. And it's a simple way of giving them exactly what they need to do their job and follow up on their calls. So if I click on here, I now have a set playbook, which tells me how to run my call, the introduction, the company priorities. You know, I could have a COVID-19 set of questions and a COVID-19 sympathy sort of selling little pack at the top there. And then I can move through, you know, and I can just click on these. I can click on those, and I can also take notes. What is the role? And I can, you know, Rich is great. I can make whatever comments I want here. And then I can log this call. And what you'll see is that pops up here, including the things I clicked on. So it just gives your sales reps a simple way of following up their leads. And you, if you're the business owner or you're the sales director or whatever, you can make sure the purity of the calls and the quality of the calls and the quality of the outreach based on playbooks. Or we have snippets, which are similar as well, just simple ways of bringing up the key information for them. We have a Sales Navigator integration. Again, if you're working from home right now and you're trying to think through how to follow up your different leads, you're going to want to use a lot of LinkedIn. And so here with Sales Navigator, you can connect with the person, message them, and see who they are and all the rest. A really helpful little tool that I use a lot. And there's various other things that data you can bring in. Down the middle here, then, we have a record of all, like a kind of Facebook timeline of everything that that Brian is engaging with. So all the different, whether it's customer service or sales, calls, conversations, and emails, meetings, notes, and tasks, all logged. So that's with, you know, your customer-facing people. Then this is with your marketing people. The ads, the calls to action, the page views, the marketing emails, the social engagements. This is then the automation that we're organizing, so to make sure that we're thinking about that nurture track I just told you about. And then here's other data we can pull in, say who attended the webinar on Zoom and all the rest, or whatever we want to pull in from other tools that we're using. And so if me in sales, if I was following up Brian and he was a new lead, I would say, right, let's go, what forms has he viewed and what pages he views? Because that helps me know buying intent. this is kind of what's been on in his mind. So when I talk about relevant content, I can say, hey, I see you've been engaging with these pages and all the rest, or I see you downloaded this, what were you looking for help with? And off I go. So that's the contact record, and that's Sales Navigator, and that's the playbook. I can also make notes here, and I could write a note saying, to my manager, Aidan, and say, thanks for turning up, that kind of thing. I could do an email here and write an email here, and I could send this to Brian, and I could use templates and sequences. So templates just to all, simplify my outreach. It's all set for me. Sequences, I'm going to show you this one-to-one sales outreach. Documents that I attach, like a brochure or a quote or something, a presentation, and did they click on it? Meetings, that they can book meetings at various times with me. A quote that I can send them, the different quotes, and they can sign. I can also make calls. You can sync your phone with HubSpot, and then you can make the calls through HubSpot, and they will be obviously logged and recorded for you. You can just log your calls and meetings. You can create tasks to follow up, and you can book meetings with people here. So various different things that help you do it. Now, one thing I want to show you is this, all of this syncs in here with Outlook or 365. And I think there was a question which we can look to solve afterwards. So thank you for that. But, I can go in here and look at, so say Rich requests a demo of HubSpot. He's a hot lead. I'm a software company. Someone's requested a demo of HubSpot. What am I going to do with that lead? I'm going to make sure I follow it up well and methodically. So here I go, and I send my email to him. And then I send another one like a day later, because if he didn't reply to the first one, I'm going to send him some video demos. Maybe that's all he needed, video demos. That's perfect. And then I'm going to wait, and I'm going to get a task here that's going to say connect on LinkedIn. Then I'm going to wait again, and it's going to say, now you got to give Rich a call because he's requested this demo, he hasn't engaged. Let's make sure he's got what he needs. And I can set as many tasks and as many stages and as many outreaches as is appropriate. And I can create all kinds of different customizable follow-up options to make sure that I get engagement there. One of the things I want to show you is how you can actually do video. We white label Vidyard, so you can insert a Vidyard video right in here. So if I go to here, you can do it in either place. I can now hit record on this. And right now I'm recording this current demo. It's a video in a video. If you're philosophical, that might freak you out a little bit. But here's a video in a video. And I'm currently recording this. And I can then do whatever I want, show my screen, tell you all about it. And then I can go back in here and just stop that recording. And that recording is now going to just head into Vidyard. I can do a little bit of customization, and then I can send you this video on a one-to-one email. Or if you're in marketing or customer service, you could create videos in customer service to answer those COVID questions and have it on your site that people can view. Or if you're in marketing, you can have them for your marketing video. So I can type in here, okay, 6 and flow demo video. There it is. I can quickly go ahead and share that, copy there, and then I go back to my email and I go, hey, Rich, and then off he goes. I put that in there. I can send that, and that'll be logged, and that'll be tracked, and his reply will also go in. And as I said, I could have done it here, straight out of the email itself, and I can then schedule that. Super powerful. Rich, Charlotte, all the guys at 6 and Flow, the HubSpot Inside Sales Reps video is a key way of doing marketing and sales and service, and it's all there. It's in our free tools right now for you. You can go ahead and use that and get going with that. Amazing opportunity there. So Brian came to our website. He engaged with some of our content. He didn't want to speak to sales, but we did some one-to-one outreach, and eventually we did some nurturing, and eventually he did. We connected on LinkedIn. I sent him a video, and he went ahead there and he booked one of my meeting links. And got some time with me. What am I going to do next? Well, I'm going to go ahead and create an opportunity or a deal. So this is the HubSpot deals pipeline if you haven't seen it. And it's the same for tickets as well. You can customize these deal stages. So I've nurtured Brian from a visitor all the way through into a lead, from a lead into wanting to speak to sales using my video and using LinkedIn and my sequences and meeting link. He booked a meeting, and now we've got this discovery call booked in. Oh no, that's not what I want. I told you this was a live demo. There we go, it's back. So then I've got my different deals across the top there. And hopefully this will come back for me. So if I go into this one, well, before I go into it, let me show you, I can drag these deals across the, and so then as they move to the different deal stages, you see required fields come up. So I can go in and just make sure that the right data is in there that shows this deal is qualified and what the follow-up steps and what the actions are. If you're in sales leadership, you know one of your biggest bugbears is that sales don't use a CRM and input the data. Well, you can helpfully, in not a too aggressive way, ensure that they have to put the data in. I can then go into this deal, and you will see here all the different deals that are, well, that's very kind of you to say so, Russell. I'm glad you think so. We definitely put millions and millions of dollars into it. The different, you can see this is what a deal looks like. It looks the same as our contact record, and I can go through and create deals, create a quote. So if I go ahead and create a quote here, because remember, I'm trying to now sign Brian up. I'm doing it all remote. I'm doing it all online. Here's my quote template, my demo name, the quote name, excuse me, expiration date, something like this, Rich and Charlotte, I can't spell, are my heroes, that kind of thing, which they think they are. And then off we go. We can go ahead and customize that quote. I can choose who's going to have to sign it. I make sure who it's coming from. And then I can add in the products, and I can add a discount and add a fee and add tax, and it's COVID time. So we're going to think about discounts in a different way. I can change the quality of the quantity, whether it's recurring or one-off. I can go into my library. I can add products and customize this quote. And then I come in here. Well, I'm going to use e-signature. I'm going to use Stripe. And just for demo purposes, I have to put my name in here so I can sign it. And I go here and I click next, and then it gets me to this stage. Okay, now I made one earlier. You click on that quote sign, that sign, and it gives you one of these. You copy that in, and you get a situation like this. Okay, I hit on sign. It's going to ask me to verify. I'm doing all this remotely. I then go back to my email, and if everything's gone well, which it doesn't always do in a demo, you should be able to see this here. There it is. So I click on here. I go into my verification. I verify my quote, and now I can go ahead and I can sign this online. Okay. So it's loading. So I've taken Brian from being a stranger, converting on my pillar page, nurturing him through the process, helping him with content through LinkedIn and video, getting into a stage where he booked a meeting with me, then working him as an opportunity, having calls, moving him through the stages until he says, right, I'm ready to buy. My computer is really struggling now, middle of the afternoon, loading this quote. But anyway, it just gives you a way to sign up, and that should come hopefully shortly. And so that's how it works. Anyway, I'm going to leave, maybe close some of my tabs might help as well. And then you can do reporting, just a final thing to show you some reports of what you're closing and the activity and all the rest. Yeah, I'm sorry that's not loading. My computer seems to be freezing. So anyway, that's the end of the little demo of using the tools that oh, there we go. You go ahead here. I can click to sign, and then it gives me my little ability to do a signature, and then off I go. And I've signed, and I've closed the deal. I've agreed, and off we go. I'm now a HubSpot customer. Guys, a lot of information, but I just wanted to show you a lot of that is in our free tools. Not all of it's in our free tools, but a lot of that is in our free tools, so you can do your job right now if you're an outside salesperson who's become an inside salesperson. So I'm going to go back to my lovely screen. Oh, just to show you, I mean, this is a video I did on Monday. There's my video on LinkedIn. It's had over 5,000 views, 90 reactions, and 11 comments. So just to show you that it works. And that was one I just did on Monday. So thank you so much, guys, for listening. I think we've got a few more minutes for final questions. So I'm going to hand back to Rich and Charlotte to take those questions.
Yeah, there was one from Harry just in the last section that was around in terms of HubSpot campaigns, we push landing pages and links or focus on keeping content in emails to reduce clicks. Is there any data suggesting that one has been working better than another given the current situation?
So the way that we've been viewing it at the moment is that the email comms that we tried to send out, we're trying to make it more conversational based. So we're trying to encourage people to have conversations with us and actually respond to the emails rather than just clicking through. A lot of the emails, so like a lot of you would have joined through the emails that we've sent that has a link in it, but we've tried to make them as plain text as possible, make it feel like they're kind of genuine emails, and they're all linked to each of our email inboxes. So some of you would have got some from Charlotte or me. Any replies come straight back through to us, because I think for me, one of the more important aspects of marketing at the moment is trying to keep everything as human as possible. And I think when you get big glossy emails and that whole kind of a message from our CEO on COVID-19 type communications, we're all suffering from a bit of snow blindness. So no, I don't have any stats to give you, but my personal view on the moment is keeping it as conversational as possible and having very limited call to actions back through, and the content is working better for us at the moment.
There's also been a couple of questions that have popped through about if the webinar will be available to download. So yeah, it's all been recorded. So we'll share the recording and then the slide deck as well, because I know that's come up a couple of times. There is a question around, is there a way to integrate this with ArtLogic?
Hey, Cordelia, I was just typing out a reply to you. Yeah, we can. So effectively, we would embed the HubSpot forms within the ArtLogic site and the tracking code, and then we could look at an integration between the back-end platforms. The sales tools that Steve's walked you through could then be used by any sales team that are associated to it, and we just push data between the two of them.
Cool. I think that is all the questions, unless anyone has any other questions to ask. Doesn't look it. I think that is all the questions.
Guys, I'm going to finish up by just saying thanks for coming. There's my contact details, and I'll let Charlotte take us away, but do get in contact and my meeting link will be sent out. Thanks for coming. Thanks for the great questions and engagement, and I'll hand over to Charlotte to finish us off.
Yeah, so similar to Steve, thanks for joining and for some really good questions as well. If there's anything that you want to ask after the webinar, just pop me an email and we'll get back to you as quick as we can. I know there's lots of different questions come up after you've had so much information and lots of really useful information when you catch up internally. We're going to be sharing with you all as well a tool that we built at Six and Flow, which is a marketing comparison tool. So it's free. You don't even need to put your email address in. It just gives you an overview of kind of quick wins and kind of where your site and where your marketing activity is currently associated with growth. So we'll share that link with you. Have a look at it. There's some really good tools that come out about suggestions of what kind of content you can produce and things that you can really start to do to improve your marketing, especially given kind of this remote contactless world. So we'll share that with you. As I said before, we'll share the webinar and the deck as well. But any questions, just let us know and we'll come back to you. But yeah, thanks for joining.
So Andy Lord, you asked a question around will HubSpot kind of train your team for free as they're coming on? They won't, but what they do have is a free academy. So within your HubSpot portal, any of the users can use it. Go in, do some of the training sessions. It's the best place to start. There's some great content on there, and it doesn't cost you anything. You don't even have to be a HubSpot user to do it. So there is free training available, or free learning available, but it's not a free training session.
Cool. Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. We'll send that all out to you. And yeah, hopefully some of these tools have been really useful for you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.